The following is a Roll Poll production.
Well, hello. Welcome to an off-season edition of Motor City Metrics. I am Mike Papchek, alongside Yoop today. We don't know if Chris is going to make it tonight, but we may see an appearance from Chris Brown tonight. Rogelio is taking the night off. He's working an event for his day job. So
professional obligations.
Yeah. Cool little thing that he's doing there. But anyway, welcome in. It's been a little while. The World Series came and went. We are into the off season. All the postseason awards have actually been given out now. Mm-hmm. And there's not really much real intrigue with those. But anyway, it's good to be back and talking again. Hi, Kevin. Welcome in. It's nice to just talk a little bit about baseball again. It's been too long, really. And I am just real bad at openings here, so I don't really know what to do except to just jump right into it. Well, it's good to talk to you again, Yoop. How have you been, man?
You know, it's been a busy couple of months here now that we're moved from Iowa to Minnesota. We're almost to the point where we feel like we live here now. But as you can see behind me, there's still some boxes that are stragglers. We're getting put away. Mm-hmm. But it's just good to be here and, getting settled. Getting winter started, getting the hot stove started is going to take a lot of stress off everything because I just like to lose myself in the hot stove league stuff as we move forward.
Yeah, honestly, I've been living out of boxes for years. I moved a ton in the last 5-6 years. Currently have a terrifying stack of boxes right here behind the camera. That has fallen while I've been in bed, which is and it's 2 feet from my bed. Thank God nobody was hurt. My girlfriend was over. It was, I don't know. I didn't really look at it recently, but it does look kind of scary now that I mention it. Keep an eye on that. But anyway, back to baseball. We've got, honestly, a ton to talk about.
Sure.
Something that I feel like is just the only thing anybody wants to talk about, but it just means that we have to at least bring it up. I mean, Tarik Skubal, he won another Cy Young. It's back-to-back. I know we expected it, but it happened. And it's official. He's your Cy Young. And before we get into the topic I don't love, can we just appreciate that he won back-to-back Cy Young? It's not anything nobody's done it in the AL since Pedro Martinez, right? That's 25 years ago.
In the world to him, he definitely earned it. He won the voting by a lot more than I thought he would. I thought he would win. Don't get me wrong. I thought for sure he'd get it, but I thought it'd be a little closer. But he dominated the vote, and it's deserved. I mean, he's been the best pitcher on the planet for the last 2 years. Paul Skeens really the only one who could probably claim that title this year, but really amazing. He's now at the point where a couple of things come into play for him. One, back-to-back Cy Youngs, 3 really good seasons, 1 more season possibly coming in Detroit, if not more. We'll see how it goes. He's in that discussion now in the top 2 or 3 for Tigers all-time pitchers. He's right there. So, and the other thing is, if he is to get another Cy Young, whether it's in Detroit or elsewhere, now you're pretty much guaranteed he's a Hall of Famer.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, and just to clarify what you said, Tarik Skubal, he got 26 first-place votes, 4 second-place votes. That was it. Crochet had same thing, just flipped, 4 first place, 26 second. Hunter Brown came in third with 24 of the third place, and then Max Fried got the rest of the third-place votes. That was your order for AL Cy Young. Paul Skeens taking the NL Cy Young in a sweep. He took all 30 votes, so also worth mentioning. But I don't know. I know we have to talk about it. And I hate that he's bringing it up like this, but really that's the way the fans are looking at things right now. And I mean, I do love what Mitchell said here, but the thing that's going to be on everybody's mind is, where is Skubal going to end up finishing his career? Where is he going to be playing next? Because it really does seem like I mean, we've talked about it at length, and I don't think any of us really thought he was going to be here. So, that's what's on the table right now.
It is, and a lot of things were discussed this week. He certainly made his comments about being a Tiger for life. Maybe those are perfunctory comments, and he just had to say that. I don't know. Certainly, some Tiger fans probably take some heart in the fact that he wants to do that. Now, the big thing there is he can have some say-so in the matter. He says it's not in his hands. It actually is. I mean, he could make the Tigers an offer that they can't refuse. That would be eminently affordable, but still make him an extremely wealthy man. Now, I don't want to sound like a certain TV guy or radio guy who I had some issues with. I won't bring up his name, who was almost calling Skubal greedy if he holds out for the most money. I don't think that, and I don't think he should feel he needs to make the Tigers a lowball himself, basically. But I'm just saying, if he wants to be a Tiger for life, he can make that happen.
I mean, I guess, but when you're literally, the last thing you said before that, Yoop, was literally saying he's going already on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
Yes.
He already is one of the best Tigers pitchers ever. If those two things are true, why would you take an affordable deal? Like, I don't think anyone else in that same position would feel the same way. There's a difference between taking a discount and completely not giving yourself the proper self-worth.
Oh, Mike, I completely agree. I was just trying to state the case of what he was talking about, but
I know.
This is his one. If he gets through this next season healthy, he's going to have his one true chance at unfettered free agency while he's in his prime. Because the next time after this, he'll be on the downhill. Okay. But next year is the year, and he's earned it by marvelous performances. He has stayed healthy enough since his last surgery, where if he can get through this year healthy, he's going to really bank. And he deserves it. He's earned it on the field. But just like I said, if there's any truth to wanting to be a Tiger for life, that really is more in his hands than he's willing to admit.
Would you rather be Tiger for life or have the highest contract for a major league pitcher in history? It's kind of like a weird, it's obviously not that black and white. Those aren't the only two things that go into this decision. But really, like, when you think about it like that, it's really interesting. Do you want to be a legend in a town, or do you want to make a ton of money?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it makes him greedy, though.
No,
I know I have heard people say that too. And I think that's absolutely absurd.
It's a free market. He's earned it. If he wants to go get it, this is America. He should go do it 100%, And, what's interesting, though, we go back in history to Denny McLain, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, back-to-back, just like Tarik Skubal. He eventually was traded. So, things were different then. It wasn't so much a free agent-driven thing. It was I think they could see injury was coming on the writing on the wall for him. But it just winning 2 straight Cy Young Awards doesn't mean you stay forever. Times change. And I think there's a good chance that he is going to move along if not this winter, then after next season.
See, Kevin Tiger fan says 5 at 250 is a ton and commit. I really don't think that's enough. I don't think the years are enough. I think that's the biggest, because there's keeps being talks of people saying the whole difference in contract, right? Like, oh, the difference is at least $250,000. And you can think about that and say that's a huge difference, but that could just be the difference in the number of years. And I think that's what it is. I think ultimately what a pitcher wants the most is longevity. They want a long-term contract, especially one who's had surgery like Skubal.
Yep.
I don't think that's necessarily feasible, but I know that's where they're. I don't know, but I'm assuming that's where they're starting in their camp. So that is a large gap to cover, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't do a lot to keep him here, but I understand their apprehension from wanting to pay a pitcher 10 for 10 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe that's not the only thing that they can do, but it kind of feels like that's what he wants. So I don't really know if that's on the table, and I don't know if
what will he do if he was offered something with a lot of deferred money? Are the Tigers looking to play in that kind of a pool where they defer his money and keep it relatively affordable in the near term? Kind of like maybe not to the extent Ohtani did, but maybe something like Max Scherzer did once upon a time when he left Detroit. He turned down a lot of money in Detroit. At that point, Dombrowski said the biggest no that he'd ever gotten. I think it was $146 million in the money of those days. So Max Scherzer won that bet. He turned it down. He was healthy, and then he took all that deferred money from Washington, and he's been just raking in cash ever since. He's the story for Skubal, where Max has been making a lot of money all through his 30s into his 40s. Skubal has to hope he can stay healthy and kind of emulate what Max did.
I like the comparison. Max Scherzer was another great pitcher, obviously, that left elsewhere. But I mean, I know the obvious comparison is to Justin Verlander as well, another last guy. Did you know, the Washington has been deferring a lot of contracts, apparently. Did you know, like, how Finney's contract was deferred? And he's owed $2 million. His $6 million contract was deferred, so he's getting $2 million this next year and the year after.
Interesting. I guess
Washington has been doing that too, but I don't really know. I guess the Tigers haven't really set a precedent with doing that with anybody, at least in their own contract terms.
Right.
So I don't really know if that's something that they're willing to consider until they do it. You know what I mean? I don't really, because it is something that we've seen more and more teams do, but until you do it, it just doesn't, I guess, like, until teams were doing it more recently, you didn't even really know that was an option. Like, you didn't really think of that as an option on the table. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
it would be interesting if they could structure something like, it's about a $40 million per year deal, but they only pay him 20 to 25 right now, and they defer out into the future, the other $15, $16 million every year, well past his retirement, kind of the Bobby Bonilla thing.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. I like I said, it'd be interesting. I wonder if this front office would be willing to do something like that. I wonder if that's something they would consider. But I mean, yeah, unfortunately, like I said, I just don't feel like I can confidently say that they would until they do something like that with somebody else, unfortunately.
And I guess the thing there is if Skubal was amenable to it and Boris was amenable to it, who else does Detroit have, or have they had, who you would want to do that for, right? If it's not him, who are they going to do it for?
Yeah.
Who are they going to go to extraordinary measures to sign? If they're willing to go the distance to sign him, then it's all on Skubal and what the market will bear for him. Hopefully Detroit's just not, putting in big offers, and that just sets the mark for other teams to beat.
Right. I mean, it feels like I do feel this. I do feel like it's not really. I ultimately do not think that they're going to keep him here. I also don't know if they will ultimately trade him or not, and when that one might happen.
Right. I've been on board a long time with I'm okay if they decide to keep him for 2026, try to make their best run, get into the playoffs and go as far as they can go, and use Tarik Skubal to do it, and then you bid him farewell with a draft pick in your pocket. That is not the end of the world. It's not as horrible as some people make it out to be. That's just what, how you got to do business sometimes. And I could see that definitely happening. The other thing is, if they don't trade him this year and they get off to a rotten start, and let's say they're under 500 at the All-Star break and the trade deadline's there, they could probably trade him then and get at least 80% of what they could get for him now.
Well, I actually kind of disagree with the first thing you said.
Okay.
Naturally, um, I think that if you keep Skubal and you don't, as you were saying that, I was debating whether I want to say win World Series or make World Series. In my mind, it's one of those two. If you don't make the World Series and that option is what happens, then I think that option is terrible, and that one's the biggest gamble. That one is because if you keep a player of that caliber for just a compensatory pick, and if you do nothing with him in exchange for that, and that's a lot to put on an organization that we don't really know what it would look like for them to go all in the first place. All in for them almost just feels like promoting more of their young guys at this point. We don't really know, but I don't know. I am worried about that option being the option that they want to do because I think that would require them to go all in. They would have to go all in. You would have to take it. You'd have to give up somebody you don't want to give up to get a ready now guy. I don't know. I haven't seen Scott Harris be ready to do that.
In Europe, you're saying they'd have to get an Alex Bregman or a Bo Bichette. They would have to get Edwin Diaz.
Maybe they need to get tangible guys. You don't need to get the biggest names, but you need to get big impact guys, and you need them in all facets. You need a starter. You need bullpen arms, multiple bullpen arms. You need right-handed bats. Like, it's multiple things on several fronts. And that kind of brings it up to the next question. You wonder who's going to fill one of those holes. Is it going to be who the fans want? And that's Kevin McGonigal making the team and providing an additional bat. Or is it going to be a guy that signed a one-year deal that has been offered a qualifying offer in Gleyber Torres? So I don't know if there's any credence to it because there's not much going on in baseball off season right now. Like, it's before the winter meetings. Like, we have enough to talk about now, but I just mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, nobody's signing. We're not doing much. So
the Tigers got Dugan Darnell yesterday.
Yeah, right. And that's like big news because that's the only thing that's happened.
I put the over-under at about 33.5 between now and the day he gets assigned to Toledo of me calling him Darnell Dugan instead of Dugan Darnell.
It just seems like a more natural thing. But I've been seeing a lot of lists about qualifying offers just like across the internet, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them list Gleyber Torres as maybe not like top 1 or 2 or 3 people most likely to accept the qualifying offer. Now, we kind of talked about this on our last show because that was one of the big looming offseason things. Like, are they going to extend him a qualifying offer? Do they want to risk him taking the spot? But I think it's worth mentioning because it does kind of feel like if he takes that spot, he's obviously going to be on the roster all year. And that kind of clogs up the middle infield for a guy like McGonigal.
Well, yeah, I think that when you look at that list, if you were going to rate the guys who might accept, he's definitely up there. I agree with folks who say that. However, let's remember it's around 90% or more of people who get a qualifying offer reject it. Okay, so the odds favor rejecting it. Yep. Now, $22 million is a raise for him this year. So that makes sense where if he did take it, that would be a reason why. What does what do his people think is out there for him? Obviously, they've probably had some off the record discussions, under the table discussions about what could possibly be there. For the Tigers, of course, if he does decline, the magic number is $50 million. If the total value of the deal is $50 million and $1, then they get a draft pick in the low to mid 30s. If the total is $49 million or less, the pick is going to be somewhere in the 70s, 75-ish. So It's a big difference, no question. Either way, the Tigers, if he rejects, they get a nice little draft pick, and everybody can be happy about that. If
Yeah,
he stays,
Kaiser just pointed out Christian Stewart was who we got.
yeah, I like that one. That was good. You could do that with a million things. There's a lot of
for sure. Just worth. I just wanted to point it out.
It's great. It's well worth bringing up, no question. Now, in terms of if he accepts the deal and he stays, I've always said you can't have too many good players. Okay, so there's one thing there. How much did his hernia hold him back the last 6 weeks? We have to assume it was pretty sizable. That should be set to go next year. If he's playing second base next year, then obviously once they judge Kevin McGonigal being ready, I think they have to try him at shortstop, and let Javi Baez wander around to many different positions, center field, third base, second base, shortstop. He could play a lot of different places, and he does pretty well at all of them. I don't think that's end of the world. If they feel Kevin McGonigal can be at least an average to just a slight tick below average shortstop, but his bat plays, then I think that's fine.
Fair. In your dream scenario, where you're saying, well, not dream scenario, but your scenario that they keep Skubal, I would really hope that they wouldn't need Baez to play third base because they'd bring someone in to fill that gap, maybe.
Well, sure. Absolutely. I'm just saying he'll jump around and play a bunch of positions when a guy needs a day, But yeah, if they bring in, if they can get Bregman, great. If they want to go for Bichette and turn him into a third baseman, I don't know if he can play third base. I don't really know what people's opinion on that is. Have you heard anything?
Not really. Not on Bo Bichette's. What were his metrics here? Hold on. Go ahead. I'm going to look it up on Fangraphs, how they rate Bo Bichette here.
And now the other thing, too, is Kevin McGonigal, let's say he hits 290 in spring training, okay, and he shows a little bit of power. People are going to want him there on opening day. There's no question about it. The Tigers will have to make a decision if they want to have him there on opening day, or do they want to keep him in the minors for about 10 or 12 games and bring him up and gain that extra year of control before free agency, especially with the lockout looming in 27 and a year might be scratched or at least heavily altered.
Right.
So I have always been in favor, as long as the rule is there. It sucks for the player, but teams are stupid not to gain the extra year of control because you just don't know who's going to win. People will say, well, he could win the Rookie of the Year and the Tigers would get a really choice draft pick, which is true. But counting on being Rookie of the Year, if some dude has 2 hot months for the A's, who we've never even heard of right now, and beats them out for the Rookie of the Year, that kind of crap happens all the time.
Yeah, you'd have to be pretty confident in it, of course. Bo Bichette actually had the worst defensive. This is per Fangraphs.
Okay.
Per Fangraphs stats, he had the worst defensive metrics of his career this year.
At shortstop.
Rookie year, yeah, it was the only time that he's been rated as a negative defender per Fangraph metrics since his rookie year in 2019. Now, I don't know if that truly matters because if you really look at defensive metrics like that, there are a lot of really widely accepted good defensive players that just kind of have bad years.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that I watched enough Toronto Blue Jays baseball to really tell you how good Bo Bichette is at shortstop. As if he switch a position, as a guy getting a little older, I don't know if maybe third base is easier if he's still got the arm for it, but I don't know. 28's not old, but.
Well, the biggest thing, of course, is this, right? We saw what happened to the Tigers offense when it died for the last 6 weeks of the season, right? They need another hitter. Is he that guy? He potentially could be that guy. And whether if he's just a so-so third baseman, you could probably live with that.
Is that who you would? I didn't even really prepare for this, but is that who you would want? Who do you?
I like Bregman. I've always liked Bregman.
Yeah, and obviously they went after him once, so you think maybe they'd probably be interested again. Just offer him the same deal, I say. Same deal they did last time. They were like,
There you go.
he's actually projected to get like basically the deal they gave him last year, at least from what I've been seeing.
Yeah.
At least in terms of annual. But what I did, I mean, we can kind of move into, I think the biggest need for the Tigers. I mean, obviously they need bats. Obviously this offense is going to need help. But I think right now the spot with the biggest holes is the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
The bullpen is like, I mean, who are you relying on in the bullpen right now? Crickets? I don't have the cricket sounder, but that's what I'd be doing right now. And I mean, I guess we also should bring up that Alex Lange gone from the organization. We say goodbye to the former Tigers closer. DFA'd for, I already forgot his name. Dugan Darnell. I said it right. Not Darnell Dugan. That's his name. Not Darnell Dugan.
Double D.
From Northville. He Northville, Adrian College, graduate of Adrian College. So that's real interesting. He's just got 8 innings for the Rockies. I mean, sub-4 ERA for 8 innings with the Rockies. Small sample size, but I'll take it, man. Like
he might have got their pitcher of the year.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're used to seeing 13 in your first couple starts, in that ERA spot. So, but ultimately, not a guy you're expecting to contribute immediately or have any profound impact on the roster when it comes to like relievers. So you've already brought up one of your guys, Yoop. So who do you look at for the Tigers to who do you want them to look at in the relief market in this offseason? Early.
Who can they rely on right now? They're going to be obviously bring back Will Vest.
Yes.
And Tyler Holton. Tyler Holton got through the year healthy. He wasn't as good as his first 2 years, but he was still a serviceable reliever. He's fine. They'll bring him back and see if they can rejuvenate what he did in year 1 and year 2. I would assume. So
I mean, he was one of the best relievers he was the best reliever in baseball at that time. So yeah.
Absolutely. No question. He was highly reliable. I always said his innings were wonderfully boring. Those innings, he'd have a pop-up, a strikeout, and a ground ball. And into the dugout he goes. Hopefully he can get back to that. Everybody else after that is a bit of a question mark, right? I mean, I know a lot of people want him to bring back Kyle Finnegan. I am fine if they bring back Kyle Finnegan, but I don't think he can in any way be the marquee pickup. I actually thought, he was getting wonderful results in Detroit. He was actually getting hit hard on occasion and balls were just finding gloves, which is good, but I don't trust the guy. I really don't. He's an okay pitcher. If they give him the deal they gave Tommy Kahnle, maybe slightly more, that's fine if he takes that slot. But in terms of at the top of the pen to join Will Vest, I really like Robert Suarez from San Diego. He's a little older, but he brings a dimension that they haven't had, a guy who can throw 101. Just a hell of a pitcher. He's a little home run happy at times, but most of the time he's a 1-2-3 inning coming right at you. And then I also still like Raisel Iglesias, also 35 years old, same age. But a guy who had a rough start last year, but then came on strong in the second half and put up a year that he's typically puts up. I mean, he looked similar to the guy 3-4 years ago. He's aging pretty well. So those are 2 right-handed relievers I would love to see in Detroit. I don't know what the odds are, probably low, but those are the names I like.
All right. I'll give you mine, but I'll just say that maybe this just tells you what I think about the organization, but those just seem like the bigger names, and it just doesn't feel – I would love to see the Tigers go after big names, but my list looks just a little bit different than yours. I went a little bit deeper because I went for guys that I thought that make sense for the Tigers. One of them is the obvious one. I'm sure that we've all seen. I'm not, doing anything groundbreaking with this, but Devin Williams obviously had a rough year in the Bronx. Did not really handle the pressure being in New York that well. He's not going to really have that here in Detroit. You're not going to have to deal with New Yorkers, all right? Not only that, his metrics weren't bad. It was a bad ERA. He was close to 5, 4.79 in 62 innings pitched. He had a 2.68 FIP, 13.06 K/9 ratio. So he's striking guys out. He just didn't have great fielding behind him, and clearly there was, he was pitching maybe better than the results. All that really means to me is that he seems like a guy, a reclamation kind of project, a guy that was once very good that had a really rough year that they might go after. Maybe he's too rich for their blood because he does only have the one bad year prior to being, a really, really great guy out of the bullpen. But and I've seen a bunch of people saying like he would make sense for the Tigers, and I think that's why.
And I wonder if you could get him, since he's coming off a down year, and if he wants to be the lead dog on the market some year, would he take a 1-year deal?
Right.
Maybe 1 year with a player option for year 2 with a nice buyout. So he could make good money next year. He does well, decides I'm going to opt out. I'm going to take $5 million from the Tigers and go hit the market as the top reliever. I mean, that would be probably a nice outcome for the Tigers. Get a big deal from them.
Right. Yeah. I would love a 2-year deal with that second year playing a player option. That sounds wonderful. The second one, welcome to Toy Degenerate. We started 9-10. Finnegan, I actually think, and Tyler Parker 93 here agrees. I think, and you brought up you'd be fine if he wasn't like the marquee signing. I think that it makes sense for them to sign him back, and I agree. Like maybe more of a back end guy. He's not necessarily going to be your definite closer, but he's going to be able to do some leverage situations, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I think that one
pitcher, he's like a 3.55 ERA guy, right? He's not a shutdown, lock it down forever reliever, but he's a guy who's going to get the job done the majority of the time, and his good depth in case you have some injuries at the back of the bullpen. Now we can stick Finnegan in there.
Yeah, he had a 3.47 ERA this year, 3.12 FIP, 8.68 K/9. So he's not really up there on the strikeouts. Only 57 innings pitched last year. But that is another guy that I just think makes sense for them.
Mm-hmm.
We have brought up this guy more than once just because we had Chris Paddock and we had Charlie Morton, the old guy reclamation project. Why not bring on another guy in north of 40 in Chris Martin? Well, he will be 40 in 2026. He had 42 and a third innings pitched, 2.98 ERA, little bit over 9 K/9. I don't know. It just seems to me that seems like a very Scott Harris kind of move. A guy, like Kenta Maeda was on the older side. Like he's going after older guys that you might think still may have some juice left. Chris Martin had a good year for the Rangers. The Rangers had great pitching, great relief, great starters. It was really their offense that failed them this year. So he was kind of a big part of that. And another guy that just feels like I mean, I didn't realize he put up numbers this good this year, but is it Jakob? Is it actually Jakob Younes or
Jacob?
That's how I say it.
Jakob Younes, yeah.
I say Jakob Younes because it's the K. It throws me off. It's more fun in my head if it's that. So that's what I've always said.
I like it.
But he's going into his age 33 season. He had a nice year, just under a 3 ERA. He's another guy that doesn't really strike guys out too much. Worst strikeout rate of any of the guys that I mentioned. But he is a guy that just seems like he's been looking for his spot in the main, like just what he can do. And he had a good middle relief role. And he just seems like another kind of guy that the Tigers would like. I'm sorry that none of these names are necessarily sexy. David Williams could be a sexy name if he gets back to his, but no, I know none of these names are super sexy, but I would be okay with them looking at guys that maybe aren't super sexy, but serviceable, because really it seemed like all their guys imploded, like Canely imploded, Breby imploded,
yeah.
So, like, I want a guy that would be more steady than that. And
well, Jacob Junis, he strikes me as kind of that guy who's the quiet assassin. All of a sudden you don't think you're like, okay, Junis in there, whatever. But then he's all of a sudden 4 batters later, he gave up a single, but he's walking into the dugout. That's just kind of how I view him. He doesn't blow anybody off out of the batter's box, but he gets outs.
Man, I did not expect to be looking at Jakob Junis's baseball reference page for this show, to be honest with you. It's crazy where we go, but here we are. Oh, it's not working. I mean, I want to say this is his best year in a while, but no, it looks like he was good for Milwaukee.
Yeah. Oh, he's a decent
See
pitcher.
Last year.
If the Tigers walk away with him this winter, again, you're right. It's not sexy. Nobody's going to throw a parade, but it's probably an effective signing.
Yeah, and those are the kind of guys I think they need to look for. Maybe to save money for Skubal, question mark, maybe?
That's the thing, right? If you're going to keep him around, as you mentioned earlier, you got to go for it. That's why do you jump into the deep end of the pool for the Edwin Diaz's of the world one time?
Right.
And I agree they're probably not going to do that. But I think the next level down is Robert Suarez.
Right.
Iglesias.
For sure. Like, maybe not the top tier, but they're like right there. They're up there. Man, I would love it, but it's taken some getting used to this Scott Harris regime, just in the way that they do things. We really just haven't seen the way that they want to build a real winner, because ultimately it just didn't seem like they thought they had a winner this year. So, we don't know what all into this franchise would even look like. To this front office, you know what I mean?
To the ownership.
I'm seeing Kenley a lot in the comments, as well as Ryan Halsey. I can see Kenley Jansen maybe, but he's a bit of a hothead, and I worry that they would worry about the clubhouse culture fit with him, right?
Yeah, that's part of it. And also, you just wonder at some point, when does he turn into Joe Nathan, who was fantastic for his whole career until the minute he signed in Detroit and he got old. That's one of the other risks you take as well with guys like this,
He's been real steady. Just looking at he did have his worst FIP since 2018 here, but that was his last All-Star year, so take that for what you will. 29 saves, 2.59 ERA for a really bad Angels team. I don't think that'd be a bad signing. It would be his year 38. It's not a bad. I think that makes sense too, just from that aspect. But
Benny the Blade here mentions Peter Fairbanks.
I've seen that a couple times. I'm not trying to.
Now he's hurt a lot.
Anybody here?
He does get hurt. But he's like 6'8". He comes. It's like he's right on top of hitters when he releases it. Maybe be taller than 6'8". Maybe 6'10". Whatever he is, he's tall.
It's got him listed as 6'6".
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I thought he was even taller. He looks tall. I think his legs are long. But anyway.
Drafted from the University of Mizzou. Look at that.
Guy's throwing 100, he's pretty nasty. And, you pair him at the back of the bullpen, Will Vest, you got something there probably.
Now, what kind of a – yeah, Peter Fairbanks makes sense. I think Taylor Rogers is a bit of a bigger stretch there. Anyway, sorry, getting lost in the Pete Fairbanks baseball reference page this time. Just, again, not really where I thought I'd go here. I don't know where else any other relievers anybody else wanted to mention, or if you had anybody else on the back burner. But I do think that this will shape the offseason to me, is fixing the bullpen. Having at least what you feel like more than one or two reliable guys, because it really felt like you didn't know what you were going to get from a lot of guys in that last year.
Yeah. And the other thing is who they get for the rotation could also leave some spare part guys around to be relievers. I still think Keeter Montero, if he's not in your rotation, I think you could turn him into a quality relief pitcher. So it just depends on, is Skubal still around? That takes up a rotation spot. Flaherty's back. Is Reese Olson ready to go? All of a sudden, if they have 5 pitchers and Keeter Montero, you really don't need him to prove anything in Toledo anymore. Maybe you stick him in the bullpen and he becomes a hell of a 7th inning arm.
I still think that there's something there with Montero as a starter. I think it would be a shame if that's ultimately what they did with him. But would I be surprised? No. I think that that's still realistically on the table for Montero. Also seeing Dustin May. How do you feel about Dustin May, you?
I hate bringing up my fantasy team, but that's why I know more about Dustin May, because he disappointed my fantasy team like crazy. I've watched him several times this year with Boston and with LA. He's like a good one time through the order guy. He looks like, he's going to dominate tonight. And all of a sudden, that second trip through the order, not so hot. So he's been hurt a lot in his career. He certainly has some lively stuff. He's also another guy. Man, if you just ask him to go out and get 5 outs for you out of your bullpen, he might have a better chance of doing that long term than being a starter.
Yeah, and who knows what he's going to be looking for at this point. I mean, it's possible. That's definitely on the table. I haven't really thought about Dustin May, to be honest with you. The first picture up on Google here, he looks terrifying with a white background with that bright red hair. That's haunting.
Here's one thing about going back to Kenley Jansen real quick. This is just a personal thing. The umpire in me will hate watching him pitch, because he does all those, those little curls and little jukes and jives and moves. It's almost he probably balks 30 times a game, but they never call it. So I will hate watching that part, but I would get over it if he's a Tiger.
Fair enough. I mean, did you want to hit on anything else? I mean, we do have like the Dinger Gold Glove. Absolutely love to see that for him, when really, I'm not saying the Gold Glove means all this giant, it's not a giant accolade. But to me, I think it kind of just cements the fact that outside of Skubal, that was your most important piece this year. You found a reliable, good defensive catcher who can play some offense.
It's certainly a change from the old days where, with Cal Raleigh hitting 60 home runs, that almost would have assured, and being at least a decent defensive catcher, that would have assured him a Gold Glove, right? The best hitters got the Gold Gloves, which was stupid. That has kind of changed as time's gone by. But still, Cal Raleigh had such a big year, is good defensively, and still didn't get the award from his peers or from the media that Dingler got. It says a lot for what people thought of Dingler's game.
Yeah.
He's a heck of a good catcher. He's only going to get better. He's got a wonderful arm. Offensively, he did more than a lot of people thought this year. And if he can continue on that path, it's going to be very, very interesting once Josue Briceño is ready, what they're going to do and how they're going to approach that. If Briceño can remain a catcher, and he's as powerful as they think, power-wise at the plate, it's never a bad thing to have too many good guys, but it's going to be really interesting to see what AJ Hinch does.
Yeah, that's fair. Is there room for both of them? Usually you don't. I mean, unless you're the Rockies, you don't really go that route with the two good catchers, right? Yeah, it's just he's definitely worth highlighting. With Cal Raleigh, I just want to say on him, I mean, obviously I'm not watching too much Mariners baseball. It's on at 10 p.m. I got other stuff going on. I mean, I caught as many games as I could. All they did was talk about how good his defense was, and I saw some games, and I see what people say, like he's got a good arm. But watching the playoffs with Cal Raleigh, when it said he had 0 passed balls this whole season, I was like, wait, how? They must have really screwed some pitchers over with some wild pitches versus some pass balls or something, because it just seemed like it was happening quite a bit for a guy who's regarded as a guy that's just never going to let that happen in the playoffs.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It was a bit surprising. Did he wear down a bit at the end defensively? I don't know, but yeah, you're right. It didn't jive with the reputation what we saw in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And
deadly injuries. Yeah, Mariners throw a lot of from fastball. That's true. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Just worth pointing out, because I'm not saying that I know more than everybody else. He's a good defensive catcher, but like the playoffs were weird to see that just up against it.
Kevin, the Tiger fan, asked me a quick question there. No, not coming to Holland for the holidays. Our good friend lives over there. Would love to get there, but we just moved to this house in Minnesota. A lot of people are coming to us this year.
Nice. That's fun. I mean, at this point, I feel like we've kind of hit on everything. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up maybe before we head out for the night?
Let's do two quick things.
All right.
Your prediction. Gleyber Torres, thumbs up. He stays, thumbs down, he leaves. What do you think?
I think he's not staying, but I think I'm going to be worried about it till the second he says he's not.
Well, Tuesday's the day. I think 5:00. I am going to agree with you. I think he rejects it. I think he rejects the offer and hits the market. And that doesn't even mean they couldn't end up back in Detroit. It's possible, I suppose, but I think he's going to hit the market and see what's out there for him. Whether the Tigers get the first-round pick or the pick in the 70s, we don't know. We'll just have to see what the market gives them. So, all right, Tarik Skubal. Let's say the baseball ends tomorrow. There's no more baseball ever again. Where does Tarik Skubal rate for you in the Tigers pitching annals?
I mean, he's top 3 for sure, right? The problem is just the lack of playoff success.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Verlander throw, I mean, obviously a couple not so great games, but I've seen Verlander throw some great pitches in some series wins. So that's the first thing I think of. And even though I have the same feeling I have with Skubal, I brought this up all year about how when he's out there, you just feel like you're going to win no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that way with Verlander too. I still think it's hard with that without the playoff success. And granted, they didn't win World Series, but Verlander got there, right?
That's true. For me, you go back to, let's start with, I like to just stick with people, I don't know, from the 60s. We weren't around, we weren't even close to seeing Hal Newhouser. I'm sure he was fantastic. Okay, I'm sure Hooks Doss in 1918 was fantastic as well. But let's just move on from them. I'm going to go back to Denny McClain, as we mentioned him earlier. He also won 2 straight Cy Youngs. He won the World Series. Great pitcher for a short period of time. However, it's interesting when you look at his stats. ERA plus, he was only better than league average 3 times. So he had a very short peak. He had basically 5 really good years, and then a lot of injury-prone, not so hot years. So I think Skubal has vaulted past Denny McClain. Mickey Lolich would have to be in any discussion as well. Guy who pitched, like 370 innings in a season, won 3 games and 1 World Series. He's right there. But I think Skubal goes past Mickey Lolich right now, just in terms of ability. Just some of the dominant stuff. So then you get into Scherzer and Verlander, right? I think that's really that's the 3 we're talking about. I was always a Max guy, but I'm willing to say Tarik Skubal is ready to pass him by. And if he has one more good year than he has in Detroit.
He's a lot more likable than Mad Max, right? I mean, I love Max, but...
Oh, yeah, they mentioned Morris, too. Morris was great,
Yeah, for sure, Nick Morris.
He was a good pitcher. I just don't think he's as good as those other 3.
I mean, let's look at him.
Big game Morris. I mean, he's a big game guy. And, he'll always go down as the guy. It was going to be on his gravestone. Most wins in the 80s. It was Jack Morris. And so he certainly deserves a lot of credit. Won a World Series. Pitched one of the most famous games ever in World Series history for the Twins. So, yeah, great pitcher. If I was drafting him, though, I take Scherzer, Skubal, and Verlander in front of him.
Interesting. I don't know. I guess it depends on what era, because there were. I mean, what years out of Jack Morris you get? He was here a very long time.
Oh yeah,
14 seasons. I think that Skubal is looking at something else, and I agree with Deadly Ninja Beast too. It just does it does feel like how it felt when Verlander was here. I'm not trying to. I think maybe it's just because Max Scherzer wasn't drafted here. That's why, to me, it makes it a little bit harder for me to put him up there with those three. I'm not discounting anything he did here, and I know that he had a lot of, obviously he's a Hall of Fame pitcher. I still think that, like, the whole way it ended definitely contributes to it for me anyway. I'm not looking at just like pure stats. So I think that's why I'd put him ahead of Max Scherzer for sure. Just because, and who knows, maybe the way things with Skubal aren't going to end very well.
That's right.
It seems like they're more destined to end like the way it ended with, we may differ on this. I feel like things are more likely to end the same way they did with Verlander than they did with Scherzer. But it does kind of seem like those are the two options, right?
Yeah.
He takes a giant deal after the Tigers lowball him. Or perceived as lowball him, or they trade him and get a haul, and there's like a big heartfelt like goodbye and stuff. Those are really the two options, and I guess maybe that will affect my answer in the future, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, it's going to be very fascinating to see this winter, and we're going to know a lot in a couple of weeks here, in a few weeks. That GM, once that owners meeting comes along, that's when stuff's going to really get pretty intense.
For sure. But hey, we will dive more into the offseason in a future episode. Hopefully when we have Rogelio and Chris and the whole crew back, we'll take a look at more of the other positions that the Tigers need to take a look at. It's every position, so every position group. So we got a lot to talk about this offseason. We don't know if it'll be next week or if it'll be during or after the winter meetings. But follow us on all of these down here. They're right there. All of our social media stuff. This has been Motor City Metrics. Appreciate you guys stopping by in a slow news off season.
Thanks, everyone. A lot of fun. I don't know if I'm still on, but Mike disappeared. If I'm still talking to you, we will be back periodically throughout the off season. I'm not sure it's going to be every Thursday, but hopefully as many as we can fit in. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about Kevin McGonigal, Max Clark. What are the Tigers going to do?
We will.
Are we off
air? Hello. Yes. Anyway,
okay.
Back button. Hello.
I kept talking in case I was still on the air.
You are. So we've got 3 months till spring training. We will be on periodically. Just keep an eye on us. When there's something to talk about, you'll see us. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Really good to see you all in the off season. Have a good night and stay classy.